Right, quick caveat, this isn't going to be a review because I don't believe you can review an item straight out of the box. So this is going to be a purely unboxing and my first impressions. I've managed to get hold of one of the new Trend T35 M Class dust extractors / shop vacs. Now, I haven't paid for it, but also equally, Trend haven't sent this to me directly. So they haven't actually sent it to me. What they've done is they've sent it to the training centre where I run the router courses, and I have, how should we put this? What's the best way to explain it? I have relocated it temporarily because I want to have a look at it so that you guys get to see it in the usual format of any review I do. Honest, unbiased, you get what I think. So Trend don't know I'm doing this. The training course, well, hopefully they'll find out about this before they find out it's missing, but it's got to get back in a week. So I've got a little time to play with it. So without further ado, let's crack on and see what's inside the box. Okay, so here it is. It is available in two models, a 240 and a 110 model, or 115 volt for site use. Now, according to the stats, there is a power takeoff on this unit, and I have seen one for about 20 seconds at a show, but it wasn't running. It was just I got to kind of fiddle around with it for a little while. It's got a power takeoff. If you've got the 240 volt, the power takeoff is rated for 2,200 watts. So that should cover any router here in the UK that I'm aware of. The biggest motor that I'm aware of is 2,200 watts, so let's cover that. If you've got the 110 model, it's 1,400 watts, so that's still a lot of routers covered. 27 litre capacity. It's dry and wet. So dry capacity is 27 litres, wet capacity is 16 litres, because obviously it can't fill up, otherwise it starts spewing the liquid back out of the pipe. That's why it's less. It's a 5 metre hose, which is 39 mil diameter. That's going to be the outside, I suspect. I don't know, but it's with a 35 mil end cap spout thing on it, and it weighs 7.5 kilos. So it's actually not that heavy, but obviously it's going to get heavier the more you fill it up, particularly if it's going to be filled with liquids. Full to capacity with water, that's another 16 kilos if you've got 16 litres in there. So as always, it comes with a run-on time. So you plug the tool in, turn the tool on, the machine comes on, you turn the tool off, this machine continues to run for 5 seconds on the auto start, and obviously as this little picture's there, you can put routers, saws, sanders, mains drills are a good idea if you're going to extract drilling into brick walls and extract the dust, that kind of thing. Quite handy. It's got a HEPA filter, and obviously it's M Class. Now, this is particularly good for routing because personally I route a lot of MDF for client work, and that dust is hazardous. The more we can extract at the source, the cleaner our work environment, the healthier it is for us, and obviously the less mess there is to clear up at the end of the day. And clients love you working in a clean environment, particularly if it's their house. So there's the stats from this. Oh, the last one is, looks like this is the flow rate, I presume. We can find out in the instructions, but 4,200 litres per minute, 70 litres a second this thing's going to gulp in terms of air. That's a lot of air, 70 litres per second, so should be good for dust extraction. Right, let's have a look in the box. Okay, so 5 metre hose. Obviously it's got the short end to plug into the tool. Let me just double check. It has a router extractor and it fits in there nice and snug. It's plastic rather than rubber. I don't think that's a big deal, but I have noticed a lot of these are starting to be rubber for a lot of manufacturers. My fine one is a rubber one, my Festool one's a rubber one. Not that that makes a great deal of difference, but if you're plugging on the outside of port for a tool, then the rubber, I guess, is slightly better for that. And this I haven't seen before. Normally on Hoovers, it's just a square plugs into the front, but this has actually got the little chute to direct the waste in a particular direction. I guess it's probably down in this case, but we'll find out when we plug it in. But a nice long hose for a router is ace, because it's usually good, particularly with routing, if you can get the hose up and then back down over something, so it's not snagging on the end. That's a bonus. Right, what else have we got in here? Extendable arms for doing the floor. These are plastic. I do know that there's a deluxe floor kit available, which has got the metal poles, rods, what do you call them? Tubes, metal tubes available. More packaging. Here we go. So floor kit is a wide floor thing, an elbow. That's really handy, because normally I just plug the straight little short end into the floor end, but an elbow is much more useful because it gives you a much more ergonomic use. Crevice nozzle, pointy tool. Right, so this is very similar to the T31. It might even be the same, I don't know. Off the top of my head, you have a brushed insert and a squeegee insert. This is going to be for if you're using it as a wet vac, and these just clip in here. So carpets, you can take this out and it's just got a plastic kind of spout inlet thing, and then if you're working on hard floors, this will clip into here, and you've got the brush, and then you can change that out for the squeegee one. Yeah, that's what we've got. The small floor, I think they're upholstery ones, they're called. Also a brush, really handy. I'm glad to put something like this in, because when you're using these plastic things, it does tend to mar your work or drag and snag, but a brush, much more useful, I think. And also there's a kind of rubbery plastic. They used to be like proper rubber, and this one's more of a flexible plastic. I can squeeze that so that it fits, and then obviously you can cut that if you need to fit inside tools. Another bit of cardboard packaging. Bags. So this is a bagged Hoover. We should be wanting that in a few minutes. Put on that. Instruction book. Oh, is it? Come here. Instruction book, which should have a, yeah, guarantee registration. You can do this online, or it's prepaid, fill it out, chuck it in the post, and your item will be return the card within 28 days of purchase to register for 12-month guarantee. Alternatively, go online and do it. Safety instructions, the kind of technical data, safety warnings, all that good stuff. How to assemble it, what to expect. Ding, ding, ding. Spare parts list, that's always good. All the individual parts are available with a part number to be replacement. Cage gasket and the item code, handle, motor housing, inlet grid, screw self-tapping pan, 3.5mm by 16mm posi. See, every little thing is available as a spare part, and there's a diagram of how it goes together as well. I do like that about when Trend put those in. Right. It's a nice compact little unit. Let's check these back in the box as well. Right. Now, so we look inside. Big long cable. That's a nice long. How long is it? Probably say. So that's about 2 meters. It's about 4 meters. It's about 6 meters. I reckon that's about a 7-meter cable. It's huge anyway. It's 3.5 of fingertip to fingertip for me, and I'm 6.5 foot tall. That to one side. Okay, so this is interesting. It's got a serial number as well, so that's quite unique. So I guess if assuming these are all unique, which they probably are, because it's a 12-digit code followed by 12, 16. It's a 20-digit code. So I should imagine that would be a unique code. What have we got in here? Filter. There's a bag in it already, so it's ready to go out of the box, which means it comes with a spare bag, which is always good. One thing I always do with bagged hoovers, always keep a spare bag in the hoover underneath the existing bag. I learnt that many years ago. I used to be a cleaner in a hospital, and people used to come and rob our hoover bags. So you'd be halfway through a job, change the bag, and you'd have none left. So I always kept one in my hoover, so I could always change straight away without having to stop. It's kind of a spare insurance policy. Right. This looks like the shut-off switch for well, that's a snug fit on there. Right, so there's the filter. It's a canister filter, which has got a rubber air seal on there, foam cover, and then I'm assuming there's going to be a ball. Yeah, there's a float in there as well. See the little, you see that little float in there? That, it's just started chucking it down with rain. It's got a little float in there, so that's going to shut it off when it gets to a certain capacity, or if you're sucking up liquids. I don't think I've ever used any of my hoovers to hoover up wet things, but I guess it's handy to have. Right, pop that on there, pop that. Now those two need to line up, so I'm guessing that's got to go on there. It's it's quite a satisfying, firm, slowly thing. Right. What's that? It's a lever that looks like I can put this back on here first. It's a cap for something. Maybe get a look in the book. If I break this, I'm going to be right in trouble. It tells you how to maintain it in here, which is handy. Look, you can wash that filter. Filter should be periodically washed. Workshop's falling apart. Externally under running water to avoid damage. Recommended, however, it be replaced every 6 months, or in relation to the frequency of use. So if it starts looking a bit tatty, it's probably time to change it. I reckon that comes, because this is the air outlet filter by the looks of things. Motor outlet, carbon, and air outlet must be replaced regularly. So that must be. Yes, there we go. So there's another little filter in here, which is in a plastic case. That's the air outlet. So it filters all the mess coming in, puts it in the bag. The bag is a filter, and then the air coming out as well, which comes out of here, gets its own little filter, which is quite cool. So there's 3 filters in effect. One on the motor, one for the bag itself, and then the outlet air as well, which is on there. That's quite easy to do. Looks like there's another 4, another little foam filter in there. I guess that's the carbon, and that's the air outlet. So that's the motor outlet, presumably. Let's look at the picture. 45. Yeah, that's the carbon filter. And 46, which is this little one in here, is the HEPA filter. And then you've got the filter bag, and then 49 is the cartridge HEPA filter. So there's 2 HEPA filters, carbon filter, and then obviously the bag, which is a filter bag as well. Now the downside of that is going to be maintenance, more filters to replace. Be interesting to get a price on those. But again, it's going to be down to frequency of use. I guess 6 months is going to be like a trade use, fairly regular. That's quite handy. Right, so look on the front. That's where the hose is going to go in, which is that fella. And notice there's no cap on my fine one. There's like a little rubber bung, which when you take the hose off, because you take the hose off for transporting it, there's like a little rubber bung that sits around there and plops inside. But goes in there, and then probably turns clockwise. So actually that little spout is pushing it to one side. Right, so that's it on there. Socket, 240-volt socket on here. It kind of looks a wee bit, this is quite a thin plastic case. I don't think it's always going to be a balance between making it really thick and really heavy, sturdy, light, and all the rest of it. Like anything, this is going to be a look after thing. Now there is a bit of movement in that, but I don't think that's dangerous. There is a bit of a wobble on there, but it doesn't have a cheap feel to it or a cheap look. So initially I think okay, so off, fan, which I guess is on, tool, which I guess is on when the tool's on, and then the bottom one is, what's that? That's a funny symbol there. Is that an auto clean? I don't know. Let's have a look. Right, so it's not an auto clean, it's a shaker to clean the filter. We'll have a look at that in a second. Right, got that on there. Let's plug the other end in. Okay, how noisy is it? Does it say? Doesn't appear to be any noisier. Doesn't appear to be any noisier than any other vac that I've got. Put that round to tool. Let's find a tool. Put it into tool. Okay. What happened there? that? That noise is the shaker. Right, that always gets me. It got me on that fine when it started banging around as well. Right, that sounded like it was a bit dangerous. I thought that was going to be embarrassing for a start. Right, so it's plugged into the tool, so that if I switch it over to the shaker to clean the filter, it gives that weird noise. So unlike on some of the other M Class extractors that are on the market, certainly my fine one, it will do that automatically every so often. You can tell it to do that. Now this isn't auto clean, but it's also not 200 quid more. So that's probably where a big part of the saving comes in. Now I reckon that automatically gives that a clean after the tool turns off. So let's try that again. Yeah, right, so that's good. Basically, after every use, it's going to shake the filter and clean that for you. So that's probably a much simpler electrical wizardry thing than having it do it every set over a set interval. So again, that's probably why it's part of why it's kind of a couple hundred quid cheaper. There you can this out, and then we turn it off. So yeah. I know a lot of sites these days are insisting on M Class filters, M Class extractors. So I suspect this is kind of the future now, and it doesn't surprise me that more and more manufacturers are going to M Class. There is also an L Class extractor, which is the T31. There's one of those over at the training centres as well, and I use that all the time when we're doing pine and clearing up and all the rest of it. And that again is bagged, which is good. The old T30, which is floating around, and if you watch any of my really early videos, you'll see that there's that round black kind of Dalek Hoover in some of my really early videos. That's the T30. I had that for about probably 6 or 7 years before I finally burnt the motor out. I had no problem with that. That's a good life. So if you're in the market for an M Class, which comes in considerably less money than some of the competitors, I think this is probably a good option. I'm going to play around with this for a little while over the next week. I'm going to then do a review. There's no point doing a review now because it's brand new, but a brand new filter and clean filter and all the rest of it is going to suck up everything you give to it. So I'll let the filters kind of clog a little bit and see how it fares over the time. That said, right now my initial thought is not a bad product for the money, not a bad option if you're looking at M Class or you're working with MDF or you just want to be a bit healthier. And potentially, because this is a very similar size to the Festool MIDI. I've got a review on this, which is this is probably 2.5, nearly 3 years old now. It's still under warranty, so it's less than 3 years old. Comparable size. Disadvantage is obviously it's not part of the system. You can't put the stacks, and it hasn't got the garage to kind of wind everything away. That said, we'll be able to wind everything around this handle. Kind of needs a little clip thing. And I thought actually there's looks like these little cutouts might be designed for the cord, so you don't have to unwind the whole thing if you want. I mean, they probably need opening up a bit more to use for that, but that may be what those little slots are designed for. Need something for the plug to either clip into some, like when you buy a washing machine with transporter, they've got like the 3 pins that you can just plug the thing in, or a little rubber grommet to hold that cable. That might start to bug me after a while. So the feet are plastic. Yeah, so if you look at this one, which is not far, it's a little bit cheaper, but it's an L class. The feet are very similar in manufacture. They've got a marginally more solid feel to them, but they've got this overmolding. The front wheels, yeah, exactly the same. They're pretty much like office swivel chair feet. No difference there. I mean, they don't need to be like. There's no lock on these though. This is going to move around and do whatever. So it's a double-edged sword. The amount of times I've locked the feet so it's not going to roll off on me, but then needed to pull it and it's not want to move. Likewise, the amount of times you've wanted it locked and it wasn't. So there's a balancing act on that one. For me, some kind of bung on there for transportation, because at the end of the day, if it is M class, you are going to have fine, not very nice dust in there. You want a way of keeping that in there other than just the hose. And to be honest, I think I'm more likely to want to remove that to transport it so that it's a more sensible size and more sensible shape as well to do it. That kind of puts it on this, and something to hold this, either something on there to cut that into, or to plug that into to stop it from falling away. I can see that being in the back of a van and just unwinding itself. But apart from that, that's two fairly minor points. A small, portable, lightweight, M class wet and dry vac, which has got, I think, potential. At the moment, my gut feeling is that's got potential to replace this. Possibly. Be interested to work out what the cost of the filters and the cost of the bags are to this, and it would also be nice, as with these, there was a long life filter. This is just on and off. It hasn't got the variable suction, which a lot of the other models have got. But to be honest, from a router company that deals mostly with routing, you want it on maximum suck anyway. You don't want to you only really turn these down for sanding. So yeah, I'm quite excited as where this might go. I feel quite lucky because I think this will be the first review unboxing videos to be seen on YouTube. So if you're in the market, or you think somebody might be in the market that you know, please do share this. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you subscribe, you will then get a notification when the review video comes out, which will probably be in the next couple of months or so. But yeah, I'm quite. I think it's a reasonable price for what you've got at the moment. That might change after a bit of use, but you have to find out what that is going to be in the review video. Stay tuned. We'll see you soon.